Hello and welcome to a brand new live edition of Squared Circle Radio. We are on the air on our YouTube channel, but if you're listening to us on podcast, we're right here with you as well. May not be live, but that's okay. We appreciate you tuning in, whether it is your first time or you are a returning guest. That means we're doing something right. So we appreciate that so much. Either way, if you haven't hit that follow button wherever you find your podcast, please make sure you do that. A rating and a review would help so much. And then, of course, if you're on the YouTube channel, make sure that you are subscribed. Hit that notifications bell. That way you know each and every time that we go live. I'm your host, Chris Belcher. The young buck, Andy York, will be joining me momentarily. Andy had some things to tend to, and he is running a little bit behind schedule, but he will be here shortly to talk all about Monday Night Raw and all about Clash in Paris over the weekend. It was quite the show. It was quite the crowd. Super excited to be able to talk about it, to break it all down. I thought it was a fun event. I don't know about all of you who are watching or listening. Most of these overseas shows are glorified house shows, it seems like, or at least in Saudi, rather. But the France crowd really showed up. We're going to talk all about that. Again, if you're new to the program, thank you so much for being here. We are live on the YouTube channel. So drop those comments, drop those questions. I will be more than happy to take those, answer those, all of the things. Get in on the conversation. This is the show that is for the fans, by the fans. So we want to talk about what you want to hear about. So drop those comments in. I'll be happy to get to each and every one of those. Even if you're watching us on replay, you can still comment on the show and we will be sure to respond to each and every one of those. Well, it's funny that we kicked the show off, the main event of Clash in Paris. We'll intertwine the stuff that happened on Monday Night Raw earlier today from Paris, France. But let's talk about Clash in Paris, and we have to start with the main event. And it's so funny that on this day, we see clearly the vision is now clear and is now complete. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, barred from ringside during the main event of Clash in Paris. Seth Rollins had another trick up his sleeve. His wife, the man, Becky Lynch, getting involved, helping him retain the World Heavyweight Championship over CM Punk, over LA Knight, and over Jey Uso in the main event. I honestly, a lot of us who have been watching wrestling for a long time have PTSD about the way that Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins were involved on screen in 2019. Who could forget the infamous feud with Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin, coming off of Seth Rollins' big win at WrestleMania, and of course, Becky Lynch's big win at WrestleMania as well, both of them becoming world champions that night. And who do you put them in a feud with first? Let's go with Constable Corbin. I guess he wasn't king yet. Constable Corbin, the man who just retired Kurt Angle. And I don't know, Lacey Evans in her first main roster feud. Yeah, let's just do that. What are we doing? What are we doing? So again, a lot of us have PTSD about that. I think Triple H is going to do a fine job of riding that ship. And he proved that on Monday Night Raw tonight, which we'll get to in just a second. But we've been long speculating who the newest member of the Vision might be. We've long said that a woman should be involved. And if a woman's going to be involved, it makes all the sense in the world to make it be Becky Lynch. And here she is, seemingly part of the Vision. We never saw the four members along with Paul Heyman on screen on Raw together tonight, but we certainly saw her at the end of Clash in Paris. And if you picked up on the camera mics, she kept saying, you know, we're the Vision, we run this place, blah, 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 blah. So you have to assume that she's officially a member of the group. Again, they haven't interacted yet. I can only imagine that'll be in due time. But again, we all had a feeling that she was going to get involved, and she did. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. Man, let's just talk about what happened at Raw And then, well, no, let's backtrack a little bit. The match itself, I thought was fantastic. I really did. I thought they went all over the place, just lots of hard hitting, just really, really good. Lots of moments where I thought somebody, I mean, really good near falls, really nice story being told. The BFT from LA Knight, I think it was Jey Uso that broke it up. I thought when he hit the BFT, it was over. I really did. That was the one near fall that actually got me. And then LA Knight missing the big elbow drop and going through the table was wild. Of course, CM Punk doing the table spot and not breaking the table all the way. And then on social media, we're seeing a clip of him putting his foot through the table and breaking it at the end of the night. So lots of good stuff that happened to that main event. I really, really enjoyed it. So now let's fast forward to what happened on Monday Night Raw tonight. CM Punk is waiting for Seth Rollins at the entrance. Adam Pearce comes to him and says, somehow Seth Rollins got into the building already. So Punk is furious. He goes to the ring, calls out. It's funny. He says he calls out from one man to another man, and Rollins music hits, and here comes Becky Lynch. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh man, I hope it's Becky. I hope it's Becky, because that would be, and sure enough, here she comes. And then a nice promo between the two of them, honestly, going back and forth. Becky talking about how Punk's name was chanted during her matches and et cetera, all those kind of things. So I thought the promo between them was really good. And then Rollins comes out and you get the nice back and forth there. But then all of a sudden, it's like the promo sort of ended. I don't want to say ended awkwardly. It was weird to transition to something else. Let's put it that way, out of this. But Becky starts slapping CM Punk across the face. Now, before we get into the repercussions of that, I think it's really interesting to insert Becky physically into this rivalry. And why I say that is because there is some real beef between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Obviously, they're pros and they've put it aside for the most part to be able to work together and to have feuds and to make money and all that kind of stuff. But there's still animosity there. And I don't know how much animosity is between CM Punk and Becky Lynch. I don't know if she's just sort of caught in the middle of the two. I don't know if she ever had cross words with Punk, or if she is just guilty by association that she doesn't like Punk because her husband doesn't like Punk. I don't exactly know. So I just wonder, inserting her physically, doing the slaps. I know that Punk respects Becky. I just don't know how Becky feels about Punk. So just really interesting to insert her this way, but she slaps him across the face. Very excessive, honestly. And as he's getting ready to leave, he tells Becky, you're going to pay for what you just did. So obviously the whole time everybody's chanting AJ Lee, and there's been speculations ever since she left of when's AJ Lee going to come back, all this kind of stuff. And then when Punk came back in 2023, it's a matter of time before AJ Lee comes back, and she hasn't shown up yet. A lot of people have been disappointed by that, but Punk saying that Becky was going to pay for it. Punk's certainly not going to do it himself. So that begs the question, is AJ Lee, the former Divas champion, the former face of the women's division, arguably was one of the faces that started the women's revolution, evolution, however you want to say it, and the wife of CM Punk, is she finally coming back? All signs point to yes. All signs point to we're finally going to get the return. That would be a fantastic headlining mixed tag team match for WrestlePalooza. You don't even need a build to it. You just did the build. It's done. Rollins and Punk, that's a built-in rivalry. You just easily inserted Becky Lynch. You don't need anything for AJ Lee. She just shows up and let's go. You slap my husband around. That's all it takes. So it'll be very interesting to see if AJ Lee is the one that comes back. Now, speaking of coming back, the Young Buck, Andy York, has made his return to the podcast. Andy, a little late, but that's okay. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Sorry I'm late, but I'm glad to be here.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. I was just talking our viewers and listeners through what happened on Raw today with Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk, and the slaps, and obviously the chance of AJ Lee, and the perception that AJ's probably coming back. Before we get to that speculation and what you texted me, because I think that's a fascinating text. I haven't said it yet. I want you to be able to say it. Before we get there, I just brought up, I'm not sure about the situation. I want to get your take on it. We know the history between Seth and Punk, and we know that CM Punk respects Becky Lynch for all of her accomplishments. But what we don't quite know is how Becky feels about Punk. So I think it's really interesting to insert her physically into this rivalry already. If you had to guess, is she guilty by association because she's married to Seth? Or what would be your take on Becky kind of being stuck in the middle between these two?
Yeah, I think it's one of those of when your spouse doesn't like somebody, you tend to not like them either.
Okay.
Situations, and especially with all that Punk said outside of WWE specifically about Seth Rollins, I think that would probably rub her the wrong way too. So I think that makes total sense of her being involved in all this and hating Punk on a different level, even probably compared to Seth. It's a different kind of hatred that she has for him. Which then in turn will bring about everything else that we're going to kind of talk about too. So I think it's an interesting play. I think it's one of those that when this group started, we all were like, when's Becky joining? Like, I think that's one of the things that we instantly started saying is, when is Becky going to join? I think they did a fantastic job of doing it. And I think we talked about the women's division needing a boost. They're about to get one. they're really about to get a massive boost, depending on how much they're going to end up doing.
Yes, for sure. This could be AJ Lee coming in. Again, all sides pointing to AJ Lee coming in at this point. Could just be a one-off. Honestly, you never know. It could just be, hey, we would love to have you for this one match, because she's the one we've all wanted to come back for the longest time. When Punk came back, it was like, okay, she's on her way, and we haven't seen her yet. So it'll be interesting to see. But Andy, you texted me earlier, and you brought up another name that it might not be AJ. Now, Punk at the end of Raw was like, oh, we're SmackDown. It's in Chicago. Oh, that's convenient. So not a far drive from home, etc. Whatever. So we can all agree all signs point to AJ Lee. But tell our viewers what prompted your text to me of this other person that it could be.
Yeah, so it kind of was in my mind a little bit, and then I saw some other chatter on Twitter or X about it as well, and it kind of piqued my interest of, if it's not AJ Lee, then I think this is probably the next best option, because outside of AJ Lee and outside of the WWE sphere, who is CM Punk probably a bigger fan of than most male professional wrestlers? Britt Baker. So I think Britt could be coming into WWE with Punk as the mystery, or as the help opponent or whatever. Do I think fans would be more disappointed if it's Britt? I do. I think there would be a shock factor, but I think at the end of the day, we would all be like, I wish this was AJ, because it just fits so well. And then I think there are probably 3 or 4 options that this could be if it's not AJ. I think it could be Britt. I think it could be just as simple as putting Rhea Ripley in there with Punk, because we saw them interacting together. And then one of the biggest CM Punk fans, the first person that went to greet him after he came back through Gorilla, Bayley. I think Bayley is another option that could be it, but it's AJ Lee. Like, it just I think Britt would be fascinating. I think she probably does debut later this year sometime. But I would say it's AJ Lee, confirmed after what happened on Raw tonight.
Yeah. SmackDown will be must watch. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
On,
Yes, it
on
will.
Friday, for more reasons than just the one, it's going to be must watch. So
Yeah.
make sure that you are locked into SmackDown. Make sure you're locked into Squared Circle Radio. Subscribe to the channel. We will be bringing you all of our feedback, all of our opinions about SmackDown, about Raw, about Clash in Paris. We're going to keep going through the card here. Appreciate you guys who are tuned in live. Drop those comments and questions. We would appreciate that so very much. Andy, another match that was, I've already told everybody, like, I was really impressed with the whole Clash in Paris card. I thought, again, a lot of people hated the lineup, which tends to happen in WWE PLEs, but the wrestling delivers, and the wrestling delivered at Clash in Paris. And the one way that really delivered was kicking off the night with Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed in this huge, colossal matchup. I mean, Andy, last week we went on and on about the aura of Roman Reigns. Like, look at this picture that I've got on the screen on our YouTube channel. The Eiffel Tower lit up in the background, Roman with the two Ulafalas representing his father and his uncle. And just the insane aura of Roman Reigns finally getting his hands after the match on Paul Heyman, which was incredible. But then, Andy, the beatdown ensued, the spears, the tsunamis, putting Roman on a stretcher and out of action for the foreseeable future. Roman gets the win, but he pays the price for it. Just very well done, man. Very well done.
Yeah, I think it's, again, we talked about it in the preview that, we gave Roman his flowers, obviously, but we also said, watch out for Bronson. This will be his kind of coming out party and WWE even more so. And I think it was absolutely. I think he looked like a killer monster even in defeat. Especially, like, it's one of those that's how you do a post match angle to make the person who lost come out looking even stronger. And listen, like, you talk about the beatdown and everything else, that spear off the ramp, Braun Breaker literally flew in the air like Superman. Like,
Yes,
he got airtime like crazy. It was a vicious beatdown afterwards. Like, it was one of those that they mentioned, earlier, I think during Roman's entrance or whatever, that Roman was going to accompany Jay to the ring. And then in my mind, I was like, nope, he's murdered, and we'll see you in January. Like, it's that's kind of the vibe I got from it. It's a great way to write him off TV. It's a great way to keep him, whatever his movie schedule or whatever is going to be now. But that was a great way to kick off. And the match was long, but the post match was just as long, if not longer than the match itself. It was crazy how long that went.
Yeah, it really was, but it was done so well. Like you said, probably writing him off TV to go film the Street Fighter movie, we assume, as Cody Rhodes is supposedly over there right now. We don't know. Congratulations to Cody Rhodes and Brandy on a new baby, which lots of online speculation about that. We're not going to get into that. It is what it is. They have a new baby. Congratulations. But he's supposedly filming Street Fighter. We assume that Roman is going to go do the same. I anticipate him being back for WrestlePalooza, Andy. I don't anticipate him being advertised for a match, but the first PLE on ESPN, I do think he'll show up as a surprise in some way, shape, or form. So he wasn't on Raw tonight, but his counterpart, Bronson Reed, was tagging up with Braun Breaker, defeating Jey Uso and LA Knight in the main event. I wasn't a fan of the way this was set up. I thought the promo was really awkward to start off Raw. You're nodding your head. So, yes, there was nobody. LA Knight is good. I just didn't feel like anybody could carry that promo. There was no Paul Heyman, and it was awkward.
Braun Breaker doing the LA Knight impersonation was great, though.
Yes,
him doing him screaming the yeah and everything else. That's what Braun Breaker should be doing, but it just didn't mesh well. There was just something kind of off. The crowd was hot. Like, the crowd made it a much better segment than it actually was, probably. But it went really, really well. I mean, it went as well as it could to set up what they did. But honestly, as that was going on, I'm sitting there going, another week of not great TV. Here we go, boys. Strap in.
Yeah, and it definitely got rocky for about halfway through Raw, but then it picked up. So picked up, and by the end, crowd was hot for the end. Tag match actually I thought was really good. I didn't expect Bronson and Braun to get the win, but they did. The beatdown ensued, and it wasn't Roman Reigns that saved Jey Uso. It was Jimmy Uso coming out to make the save, which I was super happy about. And Andy, I assume we were supposed to catch this, but I don't know for sure. At the end, when you're zooming in on Jey and Jimmy in the ring, Jey clearly says, "I need you. I can't do this anymore." I mean, you have to think, Andy, that Big Jim might be coming back to Monday Night Raw, or the Usos getting back together. If we were supposed to hear that, maybe it's just a nugget. I don't know, but this is what we've kind of wanted.
Yeah, and it could be just that he's talking about dealing with the vision. I think that could be part of it, but I do think this is the best route for both of them. Especially Jey. Like Jey's incredibly popular. Jey's always going to be incredibly popular.
Yep.
But I do think it's time for the Usos to come back together. Like I think one more run with them, and they don't even have to be like a tag full time. They can still do their own separate things, but still be a tag team together. Because we have to. I mean, listen, we have to at some point get the Usos versus DIY. We have to get the Usos versus Motor City Machine Gun. We have to get the Usos versus the Lucha Brothers. Like those are the three that we have to get at some point.
Yep.
And so this can be the build up to that, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. City Kitty in the chat with us. Thank you for being here. The Usos reunited. It certainly seems that way. Andy just rattled off the dream matches that we still need the Usos to have. And you're right, Andy, they could still do their own thing. And in fact, I think WWE would be foolish to abandon the singles career of both of them at this point. You know, when they were the Usos and tag champs and all that, they had singles matches here and there. But what Andy's referring to, and what I believe, is like singles feuds, like not just tag feuds. Singles feuds can still happen. I mean, there's no reason why they would have strapped a rocket to Jey Uso, had him win the Rumble, win the championship at WrestleMania, and then just abandon ship 4 months later. Like, that's not going to happen. So putting them together gives Jimmy that rub that we've all talked about that he needs since they split up, so you can have them do tag stuff and you can still have them do single stuff. So I like where you're going there. Plus, Andy, I think it was you that mentioned it last week about the Raw Tag Team Championship. Who knows who hasn't, and the Judgment Day ends up with it. And we talked about the women's division needing a little boost. How about the tag division getting a little boost and putting the Usos in there? I'm all for that.
Yeah, I am too. We do got to talk about one thing though with this Samoan bloodline family. Because Sean Ross Sapp tweeted this out, and I started dying laughing because it's 1,000% true. He said that whole family waits till their cousins and brothers are almost dead before they make the save. Like they wait till the very last second to come out. Because like a couple weeks ago when Jey was getting beat up, like he was basically dead, and then Roman came out, and then at Clash, Roman was already dead by the time Jey got out to the ring. And then Jimmy did that tonight too. So like we got to speed it up a little bit. We can't let them almost die before we make the save.
Oh my goodness. All right. Not to bounce too far back. I think we pretty much wrapped up that conversation there about, again, fun tag match. Interesting to see where they build the Usos from there. Vacation Aaron is back in the chat with us.
Oh,
I'm gonna circle back to this just because he brought it up. AJ Lee return, book it. Here it is, Andy. You ready? You mentioned it already. Vacation Aaron might be tuning in late. If Rhea comes out and not AJ Lee, I'm storming the Capitol. Aaron, you might not be the only one, because as much as everybody likes Rhea Ripley, it's not a good look if she's the one.
AJ.
It's AJ or nothing. Even if it's Britt Baker, it's AJ or nothing. But having said that, Andy, I was not around for the prominent years of AJ Lee. So while I want this to be AJ because the story makes the most sense, I'm okay if it's Britt. I just know that people are going to be just upset. But AJ or Britt, to me, is the only two that it can be.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Even if Britt comes out, I'll be happy she's there. But like I mentioned earlier, I'll be upset if it's not AJ, just because she is the female version of CM Punk. Like, they left, and ever since they left, multiple times people have been clamoring and chanting for both of them to come back to the company. So I think it's just the perfect storm of, if she is ever going to come back, it's going to be right now. For a long time, I probably not. She's probably going to be in WWE for a short run. We kind of thought that about Nikki Bella with this last run, and she's kind of hung around. I do think if she does come back, we're going to get the mixed tag match first, and then we're heading straight to Becky versus AJ for the IC title. Like, if they want to make the IC title feel important, then that's how they're going to do it, is between those two. And then you really want to make a full circle when Paige shows up and we get an AJ Lee and Paige reunion and going back at it again. We're going to be living in a different timeline once again.
Yeah, it will certainly be wild. And then to top all of it off, just bring back John Moxley and Adam Copeland, and then the world will just all be right.
Cole too. Daniel Bryan.
And Adam Cole and Bryan. Well, maybe not Bryan after Bryan's comments about his WWE run and all. It just
he knows how to get people riled up, is all I'll say. He knows how to push the buttons.
Yeah, he does it very, very well. Does it well. All right, Andy, I mentioned in the intro before you got here, just the electricity of the Paris crowd definitely lived up to it, and obviously a lot of pressure of them from the Lyon crowd, obviously hearkening back to Backlash a couple of years ago. Paris showed up, but Andy, Paris showed up in a huge way for John Cena. What an entrance. The crowd was just there the whole night for him and his match against Logan Paul. And I thought the way that this whole thing shook out, I thought was fantastic. It wasn't Cena's best match of this run because I don't think anything's going to top the Cody match at SummerSlam. But Andy, I'm the one that put such huge expectations on them on this show last week. And in my opinion, they delivered exactly what I wanted this match to be. What were your thoughts?
Honestly, I was underwhelmed by this one. Like, this was probably my least favorite match of the night.
Really?
Was this one? Yeah. Cena's entrance was probably one of the greatest entrances of all time. Just the place, I love the anticipation before the music actually hit, and then when the music hit, it was just deafening in there. And then they stayed loud the entire entrance, the entire way down, all of that. I thought that was done great. I don't know. It was one of those Cena matches where I just didn't feel like those two had chemistry. Like, I didn't feel like they worked well together. I don't think this was Logan Paul's best performance. I don't know how well he does in a one-on-one with a guy like Cena, where he has to be the big bad heel and keep it going at the same time. So I don't know. It did not mesh well for me. It was a fine match. Like, I don't think it was like a stinker or anything. But what we were talking about in expectation level, it did not really hit it for me. But that being said, I thought it was still the crowd made it a great moment, and the crowd made it a great match, or a great spot for Cena to be in. And honestly, I think the thing that got me was like when the match was done and he went over to celebrate with Jelly Roll and with Post Malone, I was sitting there going, when's Drew gonna hit him? And then when's Randy coming out? And then when's Brock coming out? Like, that was my lineup, and then it just faded to black. Nothing really happened.
Except Cena again, reuniting with the kid that he made fun of in Brussels. He apologized, I guess, on Friday on SmackDown, and then had him there as well at Clash in Paris, which I thought that was fantastic. Full circle moment. Like, I love that. That was super cool.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Cena looks so much more comfortable as a babyface.
Yes.
Like he looks and just feels so much more comfortable in everything that he's doing. So I'm glad we got that moment. That kid that kid was living it up. He got
Yeah,
the
it was.
apology on video. All of it. It was a great moment for that kid.
Let me ask you this rabbit hole. Here we go. You said Cena's comfortable as a babyface, and that we can tell that he's having fun. And when this retirement tour was announced, it was seemingly we're going to play the hits of John Cena all year long and just call it a day. I feel like because we didn't play the hits for the first 6-7 months, whatever it was, I feel like it means more to us now that we are playing the hits.
Yeah.
Whereas if we would have been playing the hits for all 8 months or 7 months, whatever it's been, do you think that we would have kind of gotten tired of it by the end? Or I'm not saying the heel run was a success,
Right.
but I feel like it's more special now that we didn't have it for a while and now we do have it versus people would have gotten tired of it for 9 months at this point.
Probably just because there's not that many viable heels. Like I don't think there's enough big time heels for Cena to go through in a year span. If you look at let's just say everyone stays healthy.
Yep.
You've got Drew McIntyre, you've got Logan Paul,
Yep.
you've got a Kevin Owens. If he would have stayed healthy, that would have brought back a feud with those two guys.
Yep.
Seth Rollins.
Yep.
Let's say that they could do something there.
You could have still done Randy and Punk.
Probably just Punk and probably just one Cody match.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have got 2 out of it with both of them being baby faces.
Right.
So that's what 7 matches right there.
7, 8. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Then what? Like who else is around that's a major heel that you could do that with?
Yep. Dominic
Mysterio. Yeah, that's one that you could absolutely do. Maybe like Finn Balor. Maybe. But that's kind of a stretch.
Yep.
But even after that, there's nobody else. Like you could probably run back like Rusev because of their long history together. Solo maybe.
Yeah.
AJ Styles maybe if they did because he was heel earlier this year, wasn't he?
No, he returned as a babyface at Rumble because he returned with the old music.
Yeah, so I don't think there was that many options heel wise for them to do a year long run. So I think it was turning him heel gave them more options. And I think it could have worked a lot better. But I think you're absolutely right because we didn't get the first 6 months. And probably honestly because the heel run didn't work so well. Sure. Now we're like, all right, let's just keep it like it is and hit the hits for the last couple months and it's going to work out to perfection.
Yep, for sure. As you look at the rest of the Clash in Paris card, obviously the tag match, I didn't even know was happening. I did not get to watch SmackDown on Friday. Didn't even know what was happening until it happened. So very interesting between the Profits and the Wyatt Six. Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella, I thought was actually pretty good, other than the botched disaster kick from Nikki Bella, which she was just going for John Cena and she hit him right on the button. It's fine.
Yeah, she did.
She couldn't see him. It's fine. Sheamus and Rusev, they made me sit down and watch it. I watched it. It was good. That's about all I'll say. What were your other takeaways though from the rest of the event?
Well, I will talk about that because that was easily my match of the night. Like that match absolutely ruled. Every second of it, I was
this finish. I'm going to show it on the screen right now. It just looks lethal.
Yeah, they literally went out there and just beat each other up for like 15 to 20 minutes and used everything. The white noise from the whiskey barrels through the table was nasty. The accolade on top of it. They did something else. There was another one that they did.
Where you put Sheamus through the bar?
Sheamus going through the bar. Yeah, that one was wicked
rough.
too. But even like just the standard stuff they did, that's what I love about Rusev. The way Rusev and Sheamus wrestle is that they just go out there and they hurt you. Like even if they don't win, even in the small stuff, everything they do looks like it just hurts. Yep. And so I love that aspect of him. Rusev kicking out of the bro kick. Sheamus kicked out of a couple things as well, got out of the Accolade one. So, like, they made both guys look really strong. But like you mentioned, that finish made Rusev look like a monster. I think
Yep.
if they could capitalize off what they did there,
Agreed.
they could really put him in the mid-card level again and then build him up to a main event level if they book it and build him right.
Yep. Completely agreed. Let's talk about this tag match for a minute with the Street Profits and the Wyatt Six. Commentary was really putting over a rift between these two that they weren't getting along, which I felt like was just really out of nowhere. Like, I know that we got the backstage promo with Bo Dallas, not Uncle Howdy, Bo Dallas on Friday Night SmackDown. So I do want you to touch on that, Andy. But I also, what do you think about this all of a sudden rift in the Street Profits? Like, I feel like that was just, he questioned it and now we're running with it. And like, it just wasn't there before. Or am I missing something?
I think they've always kind of had, I mean, listen, it's a Triple H thing. He loves every tag team he's in a breakup at some point in their run.
It's true. Yeah.
And so I feel like the Street Profits have done that
Yeah.
for a little bit. Like, even pre Triple H, when Montez Ford went on that crazy run that one year, and everybody was like, break them up and let him be a singles guy. Yep. So I think it kind of stems back to there, but we haven't seen it. I think it's been in little moments, but then when they got the Bo Dallas thing, that added even more to it. And Bo coming out as just him and not Uncle Howdy, I love, because it's that Bray Wyatt thing of, Bray Wyatt was just as creepy when he wasn't the Fiend as when he was the Fiend. Like, he was a master manipulator as both. And so that's and really even more so as Bray than as the Fiend. Bray was the manipulator. The Fiend was the killer. Like, and so the same is true for Bo and Uncle Howdy. So seeing him show up, I mean, the first time when he showed up in Adam Pearce's office just by himself, like, I lost it. I was like, what are we doing? That is awesome. So if we can get more moments like that, even like the subtle stuff of like Nikki hanging out in the back of the truck and then being like in the stairwell when Julia and some other people are showing up. You could have Eric Rowan in the background just kind of menacingly stare at people. Like, just things like that is what makes the Wyatt Six interesting, and that you could use them without using them. Like, they don't have to like be the forefront of TV every week, but they can be in the background. Just like the QR code stuff. Like, the QR code stuff was not in your face, but everybody followed along with it. You could do the same thing kind of backstage with them, letting Bo be the face of them and speaking for them.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes them feel more important because they're all over the show. They're interacting with more characters, and it also makes the tag team division feel more important because they're the champions. So it's weird to think that it's an afterthought that they are the tag team champions. Because again, I had no idea this match was going to be on the show, but having it on the show, even I was like, okay, it just didn't feel important. You know what I mean? It just felt like we needed a sixth match on the card for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know, just having them feel more important, more menacing, like you said, more manipulative. If we can get to that side of them, I think would be really, really cool. Let's talk about one more thing, man, from Friday Night SmackDown this past week, and that is the brand new United States champion, Sami Zayn, finally getting championship gold around his waist, defeating Solo Sikoa. Man, I don't know if this was the end game when Solo Sikoa beat Jacob Fatu for the championship. What are your thoughts on this? I want to say quick change with the championship. It seems that way. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
It'll be nice when Sami's a Grand Slam champion in April. Like, that's kind of my thought to this whole thing is, he won the title, and I think they rushed it quick. I don't think he's going to hold it long. Right. He could probably drop it to like an Aleister Black or a Damian Priest or somebody like that.
Yep.
But I firmly believe this was my early prediction. In January? I'm kind of sticking with it. I still think Sami wins the Rumble this year. Like, I think Sami Zayn wins the Rumble, goes on to WrestleMania to finally win the world title. And I think they want to make him be a Grand Slam champion. Sami Zayn, like Triple H is a Sami Zayn guy. He loves Sami Zayn.
Yep.
And so I think he wants to have that moment for him. And I think it just makes the US title feels bigger when it's on Sami Zayn than when it does Solo. And that's nothing against Solo, but I just think they've done such a good job of building Sami up to it's that underdog story of when he finally wins it. It feels like a really, really big deal. And the crowd was all behind him winning it too. And so I think it's a great move. I think it's a really great move to put the US title on him.
I saw somebody floating around a theory online earlier that this is a test run for that world championship run and for him winning the Rumble just to see how people respond, which
with the IC title.
I mean, people are going to respond just fine because it's Sami Zayn. The problem is going to end up being exactly what it was with Jey Uso. Sami Zayn's a far better wrestler. Sami Zayn is in far better condition than Jey Uso is. But the reality of it is a superstar. And when I say superstar, I mean superstar is not the champion. I hate to say less than superstar, but a second tier superstar comes out of your biggest show of the year as champion. So, I mean, that already puts you behind the 8 ball. And Sami Zayn, we all know, works best behind the 8 ball. And he's that kind of underdog, come from behind wrestler who's going to just deliver every single time. And yes, he's not my cup of tea. He's not everybody else's cup of tea. I just think same thing with Jey Uso. It's them fighting an uphill battle to give him the moment as champion, which if they're fine with having that moment just to have that moment and then taking it away from him a month or so later, like they did Jey, okay, that's fine. I don't know. The moment is going to be him winning the Rumble is what's going to be bigger than him winning the championship, in my opinion, just because it's in Saudi.
I don't know. I think people forget how much Sami can connect with a crowd.
Sure, I agree.
Because I mean his NXT run is one of the greatest NXT runs that company has ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he can recapture that. He even still with his promos, like he can connect with an audience no matter where he's at, just about as well as anybody else. That's why I've always been a big believer. If anybody is going to get that Daniel Bryan-esque run to WrestleMania again, it's going to be a Sami Zayn. Because Sami Zayn can make himself feel like the underdog, make himself look like the underdog, but every time he becomes even more of an underdog, more people get on his side and more people are behind him. And so I don't think the moment is him winning the Rumble. I think the moment is him winning at WrestleMania. And then where do we go from there? I think a really interesting way that they could go is if when he wins the Rumble, if Kevin Owens is cleared, you could have the same exact way after he won the NXT title, do it again with the world title, of have Kevin Owens come out there and celebrate with Sami, and then as they go up the ramp, have Kevin just murder him again. Yep. And then that's a feud already in and of itself for the world title or whatever title it is, having those two guys go at it. So I think Sami Zayn is set up to have much more success than a Jey Uso. And I think Sami Zayn could reach that superstar level. I mean, the guy, we were there in the building, the guy put on a amazing, fun, entertaining match with Johnny Knoxville, of all people. So, like, he can turn a lot of bad things into really, really good things. And so I think that works better for him than for a guy like Jey. And nothing against Jey. Like, Jey is as popular as anybody and will be as popular. Like, the last 5 to 6 months have made his career. Like, he is a set man for life now. Yep. He is a set man for life now. And I think Sami could be that and more if given the right opportunity.
Yeah, like I said, I think Sami is in a better position than Jey. Always will be, because Jey was a fish out of water as a singles competitor, and he'll tell you that himself. Like, we're not breaking any news here. Like, Jey, you watch that Unreal series, and he'll tell you, like, he was uncomfortable, but they ran with it, and it worked. And they got out of it, I think, what they wanted to get out of it. Sami, again, we'll see how it goes, because Sami got the big win at WrestleMania 40 over Gunther, and it felt like that Intercontinental title just didn't mean as much as it did with Gunther on it. So it'll be interesting to see, because I think we're probably, I think you would agree with me, I think we're headed to Sammy versus Seth at WrestleMania. If Sammy's getting that shot, it's Sammy and Seth based on Seth and Sammy's promo. Was it the night after WrestleMania or the week after WrestleMania?
The night after. Yeah.
So based on that, we're going Seth. So Seth has had 2 reigns with that World Heavyweight Championship and has made that championship. I said it after SummerSlam this year. That title just looks right around Seth Rollins' waist. So you take Gunther, who made the Intercontinental title relevant again, 666-day reign, follow it up with Sami Zayn. Okay, follow that. Now you're going to put him in position to follow Seth Rollins, who it was the first ever holder of that version of the championship and seemingly will have held it from SummerSlam all the way to WrestleMania to get to Sami Zayn. I just think it's a whole lot of pressure for him to attempt to do again. Not saying that he can't do it. I just wonder what that'll be, you know?
Yeah. And I don't know necessarily if Seth's going to be the guy. Like, I think there's a chance Seth drops it. I mean, the whole story to this now with between Punk and Seth is that Punk will never be champion. Well, when they say you'll never be champion, which they've been saying with Sammy, then they 9 times out of 10 become champion.
Right.
So maybe we're heading towards like a heel CM Punk versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Maybe we're heading for you know, a heel Randy Orton versus Sami Zayn or something like that. Even it doesn't necessarily have to be for the world title. Let's say Drew wins the WWE championship and like Drew holds the title till Mania. Then you could do Sami versus Drew.
Because you had that tension about the championship for a while too. Yep.
Gunther could always come back and win the world title, and then you're right back there again with Gunther versus Sami. Like I think there are a lot of other options. I don't know if Seth holds the title all the way through the rest of the year, or not necessarily not through the rest of the year, but up until WrestleMania. Like I think he drops it between now and then. Maybe he gets it back, but I do see that. So I think you're right. I think it is kind of an uphill climb to get to that point. I also just think the booking. I don't think it was Sami Zayn's fault with the IC title after Gunther. I just don't think they booked it well. And so I think this time it'll hopefully be different if he does win the world title.
As we've said, if it's an uphill battle, the one guy you want to do it is Sami Zayn. We'll see what happens. All right, one more thing to get to before we sign off here. Andy wasn't born when this happened, but this week in wrestling history, we have to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the airing of the very first Monday Nitro at the Mall of America in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I think it aired on September the 4th, 1995. That was on Labor Day Monday. I remember it specifically because I was home from school from Labor Day or for Labor Day, and Jared and I were hanging out and we were anticipating, what is this new show going to be? It's the first time WCW had ever had prime time. What was it going to look like? What were they going to do? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because I was way more of a WCW guy growing up than I was WWF. So I just could not wait for this show. And it only had 3 matches. Jushin Thunder Liger versus Brian Pillman to open the show. Sting versus Ric Flair in the middle of the show. And Hulk Hogan defending against Big Bubba Rogers, a.k.a. Big Boss Man, in the main event of the show. But it wasn't about those 3 matches. That night was centered around Lex Luger jumping ship from the WWF overnight because his contract expired the day before. And he had told WWF, I'm signing. And then they found out when the world found out that he jumped ship to WCW. The first shot fired in the Monday Night War. Again, Andy, I know you weren't born when this happened, but in going back and reviewing this, like, we did not know what type of history we were witnessing in 1995 when this first episode happened. As you've looked back on this, like what comes to mind when you see those photos that I just popped up there?
So making sure I get my timeline right.
Yes.
He showed up on both shows the same night, did he not?
No, incorrect. So technically, yes, I think, because you're thinking of Rick Rude a little bit later on.
That's what I'm yeah. That's what I'm thinking of.
But so what had happened was, no, he didn't show up because he was supposed to be on site at WWF headquarters because they were shooting the new open for Raw that was going to be on top of the roof and all that kind of stuff. And he wasn't there. So WWF aired Raw as a taped show that night. They were going to be live the next week. And so
that makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
I knew it was somebody, like it was either Luger or Rude or somebody like that.
It was Rick Rude in 90. It was 97. It was around the Montreal Screwjob.
That's right.
So
yeah, listen, it's WCW and Nitro itself is crazy to go back and look at. Like just some of the stuff that you see. Prime Sting versus Prime Ric Flair being in the middle of a show to me is just wild. Like that is like doing like Kenny Omega versus Ospreay or like Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns on a random Raw right in the middle of the show, not main eventing. So that's wild to me. The opening match like is the definition of an opening match. To get the crowd hot, to get the crowd ready. Jushin Thunder Liger is so much fun to watch. And then obviously Brian Pillman is just he's phenomenal as well, ahead of his time too. So I think that's like the theme, which is crazy. That's the theme of WCW in a lot of ways, is just ahead of its time. Dragged down by Hogan. Like in a lot of ways. Like it was ahead of its time until it wasn't. And I think that's such an interesting thing to go back and look at as like the start of that competition, that revolution, that, competing with the big dogs, and then you are just kind of rolling through with it. I think that's absolutely amazing to go back and see.
You just imagine if WCW would have embraced the new and really put it in the forefront, because look, Chris Jericho was doing his promo of 1004 holds, and it got over in WCW, but they never ran with it. Move him to WWE, and he's an instant Hall of Famer. So just crazy stuff like that they just did not run with, and it got over organically. And I know they did a lot with their cruiserweights, and I know they made them feel special, but they were in their box, and Jericho was the first one to try to get out of the box. They didn't even let Eddie Guerrero out of the box in WCW. Then he gets to WWE, Rey Mysterio, same thing, and the rest is history for those guys. Yeah, for sure. So man, if WCW would have just gotten out of Hogan's shadow a little more, I think it would have been. I mean, it could have been.
And that's why you don't let somebody have full creative control of their character. Like that was the death of WCW when they did that. When they let him have complete control of his character in every booking decision, that is where WCW died. Like that's crazy that they would even think of letting that be an option. Because there's no way, even if like The Rock walked through and demanded that, like they wouldn't let it happen. They would probably be like, we'll listen to you a lot, like we'll work together a lot, and we'll probably lean your way more so than not. But also at the same time, like, no, we're in charge. We have the last say. And I think that's where they got into a lot of trouble and a lot of sticky situations that were very easily avoidable.
None more stickier than Starrcade 97. We still don't know who's to blame for Starrcade 97.
Everybody. I think everybody's to blame for Starrcade 97.
Yep. Sting's to blame because he didn't have a tan. Eric Bischoff's to blame. He just folded to Hogan.
And Hogan has the blame because it's Hogan.
And Nick Patrick, poor Nick Patrick, he was just trying to do what he was told and still couldn't get it right. Poor guy, I know. All right, man. That's going to do it for another episode of Squared Circle Radio. We appreciate you guys hanging with us, whether you tuned in live or whether you're watching the replay. Thank you so much for doing that. Drop those comments and questions in the chat. We'll be sure to get to each and every one of those. Coming up this week, I mean, obviously we'll be back next Monday. I think Raw is at its regularly scheduled time next week. I'm not sure. I know they're back in the States, but I thought I saw something to where they were moving times. I don't know if that's to be true. Just keep your eye out on social media. We'll let you know if something changes and this, that, and the other. Because coming up this week, Andy, college football started on Saturday. NFL starts this week. It's going to be a busy time in the world of Chris Belcher and Andy York for more than just sports and wrestling. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's a definitely a transition period for both of us that we're going to have to get used to. But listen, it was a great weekend.
Yep.
Woke up Saturday morning, watched Lee Corso retire in a beautiful way.
Yep.
Watched college football all day. Kentucky won, probably the
Yep.
only win they're going to get this year until they play Eastern Michigan.
Yep.
But
you came over to my house, we hung out.
Exactly. And then Sunday, we got to relax all day, had Clash. It was just it's a great day. It was a great weekend. And now every weekend's going to be filled with football, and I'm very happy. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
From now until February, we are slammed, and then
basketball.
Oh my goodness. Oh, it just never stops. The world never stops. We appreciate you guys being tuned in live with us. Thank you so much for being here on another edition of Squared Circle Radio. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please make sure you do that. We would appreciate it. Also, would appreciate a follow on social media, a follow wherever you find your podcast. All of those things would be so appreciated. That's the Young Buck Andy York. My name is Chris Belcher. We appreciate you guys being with us on another edition of Squared Circle Radio Live. We will catch you guys down the road.